Good morning, guys. So we have just woken up to day 12 of quarantine. Thought I'd take you guys through a full day in life. Not that much is going on, but I do know that some of you have a couple of questions about our quarantine time and just coming back home to Australia. So anyway, woken up, coffee time, and I think breakfast just arrived as well. So I'm gonna go and check the door. So every evening we get a little preview menu of what we're going to get the next day, so kind of know what is going to come to the door each day. But this morning, what is it? We have a little frittata, I think. A vegetable frittata. Yummy. And it always comes with some snacks as well, so yogurt and a piece of fruit and a juice box, of course. So I'll fill you guys in for those who don't know the story from the beginning, but Waz and I have been waiting to get home to Australia for quite some time. We have been lucky to get home on our 5th flight from Dubai. So we had 4 cancellations prior, and I think, you know, there's still quite a lot of people who are really desperate to get home, who have had more than 10 flight cancellations depending on where they're coming from. So super grateful to be back home, even though it has come at a huge cost. Obviously hotel quarantine, and also having to extend visas and that sort of thing, but just really grateful to be back home in Australia, to be honest. And we are now in day 12 of 14 of our quarantine. So prior to getting back to Australia, we did have a few challenges that arose along the way, one being that Warren is not an Australian citizen, so we did have to apply for the exemption visa for him to come across to Australia with me, which proved to be really stressful at the start because it did get denied, I think, 2 times before we had realized, or before anyone had actually told us, that we just needed to actually submit another form. So luckily we actually found that out and applied the 3rd time, and his visa was accepted. We do also have an Australian certificate of relationship registration, which I think helped us in the process to returning home to Australia together. So really grateful for both being home and coming back together. So before leaving to Australia, obviously we were quarantine tested in Dubai, which was mandatory to get on any of the flights with Etihad Airways. So tested prior to getting on the flight to Australia. Everything on the plane coming into Australia, I guess, was as normal. Nothing really seemed too different, aside from the fact that the plane that we were on only had 56 people on it, so it was a very small flight. Interestingly though, they had actually placed us all in the same area in the plane of economy, so they did have a lot of seats available in economy plus, which basically is the same as economy. I'm pretty sure there's about a centimetre more room in the seats. Obviously you have to pay another price for those seats, which nobody obviously wanted to pay for, so all of those seats were kept free in a large area of the plane, and everyone else was kind of squashed into or seated in the same area, which I thought was interesting, because if they were, you know, genuinely concerned about keeping that distance between all of the passengers on the plane, probably would have seated everyone across the entire plane with more space between people. But I guess everyone was tested prior to getting on the plane, so that definitely put people at ease, I think. Landing back into Melbourne Airport was a total experience on its own, guys. It was kind of like coming home to Zombieland. We were kept on the plane for about 30 minutes because they were disembarking only, obviously one craft at a time, as well as I think about 20 people at a time. So there was an aircraft that landed before us. We had to wait until all of those people on that aircraft had gone through the airport and done all the processes before we got disembarked off our plane. So it was a very long process. When we got off the plane, the entire airport was kind of reconstructed for this quarantine process. So all of the walls were sheeted with plastic. We actually had to go in a different entrance and exit. We were obviously directed through our millions of checks at the airport by all of the airport crew, which were completely covered in their quarantine kits. So honestly felt pretty weird coming off the plane and just being surrounded by all of these people covered head to toe in their protective gear. It took 4 hours before we got to our quarantine hotel, just from going through all the processes. They were extremely careful to the point where, you know, they would have people on duty for just desk wiping. So if we had gone up to a counter to fill some forms in at the airport, there would be people on guard literally just coming through and sanitizing, you know, the table, the area that you've been standing after every person goes through. And we could actually see on a whiteboard the amount of planes that were coming in that night and the exact amount of people on each plane, the exact amount of staff that were on at the time as well. And it was just crazy to see. Our flight that came in was actually the biggest flight for that evening. Some of the planes coming in had 20 people on them. It was just a really odd experience. When we got to our quarantine hotel, the same thing had to happen again. There was a lot of waiting around. The entire road is blocked off around this quarantine hotel, so no one can even drive down the road that we had to get off the bus and enter through the hotel. And again, entering through different entrances as well. Everything is sheeted and, you know, covered in protective gear. And we were basically taken straight through to our room, and we have not left since. So I'll give you guys a little tour of our room. We actually got really lucky and landed the suite. But looking around that evening that we came in, there were only singles that were coming in. I think we were the only couple that had come in at that time. So luckily we did land the suite of this building. Honestly, this place is bigger than our London apartment, which we lived in for like 6 months. So we are totally fine. But this is just our little work area here. Warren is working away this morning. And obviously the entrance, pretty nice bathroom. We actually have a really big bathtub as well, which is nice. And then just the great thing for us was having the separate bedroom here. So especially because we have been working pretty hard the last couple of weeks, it's nice to just have a separated sleeping area. And this is our kitchen. We do not have a microwave or anything, but literally just a kettle. And we've got a really little mini bar fridge. So really the only things that I've been able to keep here as extra snacks and food is things like tuna cans and rice cakes, nothing that needs to be cooked basically. And we can't really stock too much in our fridge because there's not enough space. So just kind of been taking it day by day and doing the best that we can. And all in all, I'm really just thankful that we do have room to do our home workouts. I'm not a fan of the home workouts if I'm being honest, but for me it's more just about mindset when it comes to home workouts, not so much about, you know, stressing over my strength or fitness goals, more just to keep moving and keep mindset in check while being locked in quarantine. To be honest, in terms of goals with food tracking and just general fitness goals for myself, I've really had to turn down the expectation. I realized I needed to do that the day that we arrived here. I did really want to get through this tracking food as best as I possibly could, but it has proven to be pretty hard, just in the fact that it's very expensive to get things delivered every single day because we can't store things or we can't cook anything, so everything has to be fresh. So aside from the tuna cans and rice cakes, we have been trying to do the best we can with the food that is coming to us already for quarantine. And what I have been doing, if it's something that I just really don't want to eat or is really impossible for me to kind of track, I will just swap it for tuna and rice cakes. They seem to only give very sugary snacks, so the quarantine food has been edible and pretty good so far, but you know, the snacks are always things like sugary biscuits, a chocolate bar, cake, nothing healthy. I think with breakfast they do give us a piece of fruit, so I normally save that piece of fruit for a snack later in the day. And then Woz and I just have things like protein bars. We bought some peanut butter, which we have on rice cakes, just more healthier snacks. And I usually just get rid of those unhealthy ones that we get during quarantine. But for the most part, the meals have been okay. Personally for me, I've gone from being really active to sitting on my bum all day. So my body and my metabolism has definitely taken a hit in this 14 days of being stuck in quarantine, even with home workouts, because to be honest, even 45 minutes to 60 minutes of a decent home workout is still nowhere near the amount of energy that I would expend on a normal day, not in quarantine. So in fact, the food amount that I get given during quarantine already is probably over maintenance for me, given that I'm not moving around all day. For Warren, on the other hand, obviously, you know, he's getting the same amount of meals or same amount of food that I get, same size meals, and he is pretty much double my size. So for him, it's been a different story. He has most definitely been in a deficit for the last 12 days, and occasionally he's had to order in some extra chicken from Nando's or something, or a wrap, to actually keep him satisfied enough. So yeah, we've just kind of been taking it day by day, and a lot of you have been asking, like, genuinely how I'm going, how I'm coping with being stuck in this room for 14 days. And if I'm being honest with you all, this has been probably one of the busiest couple of weeks for me with work. Obviously through the Christmas period wasn't too bad because people were kind of taking a little bit of time out, but obviously start of the new year, this is where people are raring to go. So for me, it has been hectic for work, and obviously the challenge has just kicked off as well. So I have been really laser focused with work, and that has taken a lot of the time, or made it go very quickly during quarantine. We're actually saying this morning that we can't believe that 12 days has already gone by. It really has flown by for both of us. Work has definitely distracted me from being anxious around my own goals right now, and not being able to give my own goals 100% right now. Obviously not being able to train properly, and not being able to eat the exact foods that I need to be and I want to be eating to smash my own goals. But I have kind of been distracting myself from that with work, which has really helped. And also, to be honest, it's been a bit of an excuse for me to just get my head down and focus on my clients for this 2 weeks, and not worry about myself so much. So it has kind of been a good blessing in disguise, I guess we could say. Anyway guys, it's day 12, it's Monday, and it's check-in day for me, so I have a lot of check-ins to get done this morning, as well as just making sure all my challenges are actually having a great start to the challenge. So I've got a lot of work to get done this morning. I'll jump back on and touch base with you guys in about 2 hours when lunch order comes. We get a little knock at the door 3 times a day with our little brown paper bags. So yeah, I'll check back in with you guys once our lunch arrives, and we'll see what it looks like today. Okay guys, so I've done quite a bit of work this morning, and we just got a knock at the door. So obviously lunch has arrived. Go get the lunch.
You go get it.
No, I don't want to walk all the way there. Go get it. So let's go see what is in the lunch bags for today. Warren has got his little extra order of protein bars, and our lunch has just arrived. Let's see what is in the lunch bag today. So this is lunch today. Apparently it is
pumpkin, green beans, red onion, semi-dried tomatoes with pulled beef. The meat actually looks so fatty. It's not actually good quality meat at all. So I'm probably going to pass. I'm going to pass on this meal today. Someone's not happy at all. I'm going to pass on this meal today and just have tuna and rice cakes instead. So I guess I'll just be taking the apple from today's order. And of course, as you guys know, always comes with a sugary snack. This is lunch. And forcing was to watch maths while we have a little work break. And then later today, I will just take the fruit from that meal and have it with a Quest bar for my snack. Oh, guys, we have been working away all day. Time has flown once again, and dinner has just arrived. Waz has just gone and grabbed our bags from the door. So let's check out what the last meals of the day are. So today we have some sort of pretty tasty looking pasta dish actually. Looks pretty yum. So I'm probably going to eat that dinner tonight. A little side salad. Of course the dessert, which I'm just going to give to Warren. And it also comes with a bread roll as well. Not exactly the most balanced meal, carbs with a side of carbs, but it's gonna do for today. Dinner's done. Are you gonna get something else?
Of course.
Well, dinner's done for me, but Waz is gonna have to order some extras, I think, because that is definitely not gonna cut it for him. Anyway, guys, we are out in not tomorrow, but the day after. And basically we've been tested 2 times in quarantine. I think this is, how many times have we been tested now? Like 5.
Yeah.
We've been tested 5 times since we went from London through to Dubai and then now to Australia. So we've been tested twice and all cleared. Tomorrow, or the day that we leave, they will take our temperature and basically escort us out of the building, and we'll finally be free. So looking forward to it.